Well, Nigeria's inflation is now running out of the threshold set by the financial regulator, the central bank, for its monetary policy considerations. 9% were now effectively out of that band. 11.4% was what the Bureau of Statistics reported just about 40 minutes ago before we came live to you. Now let's get on the phone right now to the Chief Executive Officer at Financial Derivatives Company, Bismarck Rwani, from downtown Lagos, to bring us up to speed. Give us immediate reactions to this news now hitting the wires and what the implications will be for the markets and the economy. Let's move on. Bismarck, Mr. Rwani, good afternoon. We thank you for your time. I guess we lost Bismarck there. For now, we'll try to get him within the next few minutes. Let's go back to North Africa, where Egypt's having one of the widely grown rice among the farmers. But then there's been a shortage, but the country says there will be no option yet about bringing more supplies into the country via imports.
Staple food in Egypt, found on most dinner tables in the North African state. But despite its abundance, there are increasing concerns that there's little available for those who need it most. The price the government pays for rice has surged by about 50% in the past 2 months because traders are holding back supplies and expect prices to rise further following the government's failure to replenish its stockpiles. That failure has left it at the mercy of traders who are unwilling to sell when prices are rising daily.
وسمحوا بتصدير مليون طن برغم ان اللجنة.
They allowed the export of 1 million tons, even though the council did not ask for the export of 1 million tons. The council said there's a surplus of 1 million tons, but it suggested that 50% of that surplus be exported and for the remaining 50% to be stored, carried over for the following year. That's always been the policy that states follow. They have credits to begin the following season with. This gives it room when buying and trading the product.
With an eye to the overall rice surplus, the government has allowed exports to resume, but its failure to accumulate its own stocks has encouraged traders to hold back supplies in the expectation of rising prices while discouraging exports.
وكده شايف إن بأي طريقة من الطرق.
Now they, the traders, see that they, the government, will agree eventually to buy their goods. So, now the majority have started buying and storing. They mill the products, and besides the belly, people started buying products and milling them and storing them as white rice, ready and available. If they have any intentions to export, they export them, and if they don't want to do anything else with them, the products are good and ready.
The government has tried to strike back, imposing penalties on suppliers found hoarding. Growing shortages and rising prices carry immense political risk for President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, as tens of millions of the country's poorest rely on state subsidies for their basic food. And despite rice being widely grown and farmers producing a surplus, the more desperate the government gets in its attempts to buy rice, the more traders are likely to hold back.
All right, let's get back to Bismarck Rwani, Chief Executive Officer at Financial Derivatives. He's an economist and is joining us on the phone from downtown Lagos to chew over the latest inflation data from Nigeria, reporting 11.4% for the month of February, one of the highest we've seen since 2012. Mr. Rwani, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Bosin.
A very quick question. How did we get to where we are right now?
So basically, it's simple. What happened was that there was market uncertainty from February 11 to February 29. Market uncertainty kicked in. Importers priced their products at the prior market rate, which was 405 at that time, and punished the policymakers for being rather unclear and ambiguous in their policy direction as far as the exchange rate is concerned. We found that the price of diesel went up from 107 to 134. The price of electricity went up. The price of books went up. Imported inflation reflected itself in all imported items, and local prices were adjusted. Remember that in 2015, at this time, this was when the election was postponed, the price there was 8.4%. So when you compare last year with this year in terms of the rate of inflation, it has gone up from 8.4% to 11.4% at this point. Now, what does this mean? It means that the MPC will have to decide on Monday and Tuesday what to do about this high inflation. Is it transient, or is it a persistent trend? To me, this price hike in February will continue to march before you see a reversal, before prices start coming down. Because let me take you through some of the prices that I know about. Beans is up by 58% to 20,000 naira a bag. Rice is up. Sugar is up. Bread is up. Flour is up. Palm oil is up. And also semovita is up and noodles are up. Everything that is in your food basket has gone up, reflecting the price. So what you have done essentially is you have paid the price of a devaluation without getting the benefits of the inflow of funds into the country.
You're painting a little bit of a very grim picture here. So, in terms of core decisions or critical decisions that need to be taken, what decisions should we take in the next few days, starting from the central bank, in terms of where interest rates should go, whether we should tinker with the cash reserve ratio, or we should just do something somehow or relax the restrictions around the foreign exchange window?
No, you cannot push interest rates higher. Interest rates have actually just come down. So what you can do is to start a tightening cycle using the reserve requirements. You can increase the CRR, but you definitely have to take some liquidity out of the system. If you take the liquidity out of the system, it will reduce the pressure. But there's no question about the fact that an exchange rate policy has to be developed and implemented immediately. An exchange rate policy means that the currency will strengthen when the price of oil and other fundamentals improve, and it will weaken when it goes the other way around. Let us look at Ghana. Ghana, for the first time, has seen inflation come down by almost 2%. Why? They dealt with their currency issues. They put a currency policy in place. They dealt with their power issues, and they also dealt with their fuel issues by removing subsidy. Right now, Ghana is reporting higher growth and lower inflation. What Nigeria is facing now is lower growth and higher inflation instead of stagflation. You've got to take some very, very important and crucial decisions in the next week or so.
How do you think foreign?
Not on our side.
Yeah. How do you think foreign investors in our stocks, in our treasury bills, FGN bond, naira denominated, euro bond, will be reacting? Will be thinking towards this inflation report, as well as what lies ahead early next week from the central bank?
No, basically, if your rate of inflation is 11.4%, and the yield on your treasury bills is 8.3%, you're losing money by going to bed. So people, you are not going to get foreign international flows, not even domestic investors to go into the market. You have to make some adjustments of that. But inflation on its own is not a bad thing if you are enjoying growth. What we need to do is the budget has to be approved on the 17th, tomorrow. Spending has to start. Productivity gains have to kick in. And the investment in infrastructure on the roads, the rails, and the ports have to start immediately. The government has to start spending money immediately, and so that economic activity increases, and that way prices begin to stabilize, because increased productivity when money supply is kind of constrained means that prices begin to come down. So in the long run, in 2 months, 3 months from now, I see the inflation rate coming down to lower double digits, that is to about 10.2 or 10% in about 2 months' time, and then come down to about 9-point-something% subsequently, after you have kicked in, after you have an exchange rate policy, and after you have approved the budget and start spending money on productive activities.
Okay, Mr. Rwani, these are your initial comments. We thank you so much for this. We appreciate your time pulling you out of your conference on Downstream, also to discussion to bring us up to speed and reacting to this very important story. Mr. Mark Rwani, Chief Executive Officer at Financial Derivatives Company. When we come back, we'll look at the FMDQ markets, the intraday session. Let's kick that in 10 minutes to the top of the hour. You're watching Business Incorporated.